It is around about the 21st of February, so technically still winter, but it is so warm here today. I've got shorts and a t-shirt on, and even with that snow on the mountains in the background, it really does feel like spring is happening, and that's a good feeling for sure. And there's ABC, parked right there. On our walk through Finike, we're actually on the hunt for a multi-size SD card reader. This is a USB 1, so the speed is woefully slow. I'm really looking for a USB 3-speed SD card reader, which is called into the shop here. And the guy showed us one for the micro SD cards, which will do the job. However, he doesn't have one that does the big SD card, which one of our cameras uses. And the thing is, he's just gone, okay, just hang on a second. And he's wandered off down the street to talk to another shopkeeper, presumably, but left us here with his shop. And as she was just saying that, you know, somewhere else in the world, in particular where we were used to live when we were kids, they'd never leave you in the shop because they'd come back to an empty shop. But here in Turkey, yeah, just stay here, look after my shop, I'm going somewhere else.
It's great, it's really great.
It's really good.
Nice to know that still exists, you know.
That's really nice. Another bonus of Turkey, really, isn't it? In Finike, there are a couple of creeks that run out into the sea, and as we go into the back streets of Finike town itself, we can see that they've actually tamed the creek, and it runs out through this little canal system. And every now and then they have these little bridges that are very popular for people making shortcuts, either on foot or by scooter, into their residential areas. Reminds me of that song, Running Bear. It reminds me of that song, Running Bear. No, it's about an Indian, oh, never mind. Okay. Yeah. The lyrics were something like, on the other side of the river stood Running Bear.
Okay. I just heard running.
No. Anyway, time to find food.
Okay, yes.
There's a hungry bear needs feeding. A symbol synonymous with Turkey is, of course, the whirling dervish. We've just come across this statue of a whirling dervish. Hopefully next time we're in Istanbul, we might take a look, see if we can see some whirling dervishes in action. Now then, our mate Kev, who's been up and down this road a few times, reckons that this place over here, Klas Pastanesi, is the place in town, in Finike, to buy cakes. We're gonna find out. We're not driving a Jag.
Got this in the cake shop.
Look at you. I didn't get any beer. Thoughts about Finike so far? It's
not a tourist town.
It's definitely not a tourist town. It's definitely a working town. It's quite disjointed. There's no central area for, say, you know, you go here for your shopping, you go here for your eating. You know, everything seems to be spread around. There are a couple of little squares, but everything seems to be sort of like just spread around. And you've really got to do some walking around the back streets to discover little places where you go, oh look, there's a hardware store, oh look,
Yeah.
there's several hardware stores.
There is an area where they sell meat and fish in different shops.
Again, that's a little square area,
Yeah, it's a
isn't
square,
it?
and that's near some places where they make, you know, P-Day and foods takeaway. There are sort of 2 or 3 roads that are parallel to each other on the other side of the main road, and the one at the back has got lots of tool shops for farming equipment and the people that work around here. And then you know, you come further and you've got a variety of other shops.
So if you come to Finike, you've got to get on your feet, go and explore. If you want to find anything, you've got to go and explore. It's not laid out on a plate and handed to you.
Yeah, and just while we're talking about places around Finike, I must say the topiary, how they've done the trees and the little bushes around the town hall, it's really pretty. Well, they put a lot of effort into it.
Just a funny little thing, we're going to go and walk up here and show you. This camera won't pick it up, but there's a bloke who's got 6 or 7 sticks planted into the sand just in the shallow water off the beach, and he blows up balloons and hangs them from string between the sticks, and then he charges people to use, like, I think it's a 177 or a .22 air rifle to shoot the balloons and win prizes. Now, I think it's, you know, very entrepreneurial of him to do that.
You wouldn't want to swim around the area though, would you?
But the thing that gets my goat is he's got rubber balloons that are getting blown up and dropped into the bloody water.
Yeah,
So
which they don't think about either.
yeah. Anyway, I'll show you what he's got set up. So this is the shooting gallery, so to speak. Those are the balloons he's got set up. And notice as he's putting the balloons out, he actually dips a little bit of seawater in to give them a bit of weight in the bottom of the balloon so they don't blow around too much in the breeze. And then he ties them up onto the string and people shoot them. Entrepreneurial, but kind of... This is the outside wall of the marina, and that is the entrance to the marina, and just a bit of a panoramic view across the bay, which is nice and flat and calm today. Just between the palm trees there you can see the Migros supermarket sign, so it's literally across the road, come into the entrance of the marina, and Bob's your uncle. There's Pontoon Sea where we're on. That's how far you have to go to get your shopping. What have you got?
What?
Doritos.
Oh yeah, your Doritos.
Some upgrades happening here. And we're making it really pretty. We walked along there last night and it's really quite nice. We might film that for you later on. But yeah, it looks great. They're getting that all ready for summer. We have almost a passerella of doom. It depends on how high or low the tide is. And yes, there is a tide in Turkey, even if it's a little tide.
Yeah, it's quite significant when you're trying to go up and down that passerelle.
Got back to ABC. I took a little hike back into town to the shop where the guy said he was going to get us an SD card reader. He'd been to Antalya today, which is a little bit further along the coast, and he said he scoured everywhere and finally came up with the goods. Now I haven't had a chance to have a close look at this, but I'll dig it out of my backpack and we'll take a look. Okay, so this is it. It looks very similar to the one we've got, although the package does say USB 2. So I'm hoping this one's going to be a little bit faster than the one we've got. It was 60 Turkish lira, which is just under 11 Aussie dollars. He did a good job getting that. So we'll give it a go.
Can't see where we're going yet, but you'll see when we get there.
And I believe that's just half of it. There's more walking when you get to the top.
Oh, don't say that.
That's true. Almost halfway up there's this little bench provided by the local council. I guess some people need a little bit of a rest on the way up.
A bit further up they've got a CPR machine.
Looking out past the marina breakwall, looks like we might be getting a bit of wind out there. Might be able to get the sails up when we go out. This is a new mosque that's been built. One of the local businessmen financed it. Apparently it's not open yet, but it does have pretty much everything you would expect, including a school for the local kids, and it's wonderfully lit up at night. Whew, a bit of a climb up that hill. Just here we can see the little seats in front of the water taps where worshippers will cleanse and wash themselves before entering the mosque. And this is the main entrance into the mosque. As I said, it's not open at the moment, so we're not disturbing anybody by wandering around here, but it's been beautifully constructed. From the edge of the roof we can see there's a chain hanging down here from what is technically a gutter, and the chain is just to direct the water when it rains to run smoothly down the chain instead of splashing the side of the building and potentially staining it. A great overhead view of Finike Marina, some fishing boats along there, Coast Guard boat, and moving over towards the hard stand area and then looking out across Finike itself. This camera's not going to pick it up really well, but we can see that there's a fish farm here, a fish farm here, a fish farm there. These are working fish farms, and the boats that taxi the caught fish backwards and forwards are in and out of the harbour all day. And way across there on the horizon is the silhouette of a Navy ship. So they are still patrolling this area. We had wanted to fly the drone over the marina and bits and pieces of Finike, but unfortunately we were told that the zone is a red zone, and so drone flying is definitely a no-no. So we've done the best we can by climbing as high as we can and getting these shots for you.
Yeah. Super fit while we did it.
We did. Super out of breath. So that concludes our time in Finike. We're just about to head back to the boat and make her ready to leave the marina. It's been great. We've met a lot of good people.
Yeah.
And we'll see them up and down the coast throughout this sailing season. It's now Monday morning and we've been in Finike Marina for nearly a week now, but it's time for us to head back to the cache area. On the way we're going to stop at Keckover at Smuggler's Cove and drop anchor there for the night. But right now I'm going to head into the marina office and just let them know that we're leaving today and just sign off and return our key card.
I've not even done my makeup or hair or anything yet, but I'm making sandwiches because we're going out in the car for a whole day and we're going exploring, and I thought we'd get hungry, so...
Yeah, well the restaurants might be closed,
Yeah,
so there might be
exactly.
nowhere to have lunch, so...
Meat, veggies, mayo, mustard, fruit.
Right, better get my game on
Okay,
and get a few things organised.
alright. Well, Baz, as you know, as the driver, we are on our way to an ancient Lycian site called Telos. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And it's up in the hills, and they're actually right at the top of the hill range that I'm looking at. They're covered in snow because it is winter.
It is.
It's actually really cool, just driving through the little country villages, isn't it?
Yeah, you're definitely sort of like off the beaten track now. This is far from tourist town.
Anyway, here's a bit more of what we're seeing. Oh wow! He's open, that's good. We can support them. Okay.
Here, eh?
It's so quiet. apparently, according to Hittite texts, this Lycian settlement dates back as early as the 15th century BC in the Late Bronze Age. How awesome is that?
It's pretty old.
It's older than you guys.
It is. That's saying something. So the large open flat space to the east foot of the Acropolis Hill served as the stadium area. The spectators were able to view the races from the seats, got into the natural bedrock. 9 rows of seats and a parapet are the most important features. Up at this elevation we can see the stadium area, and beyond that there is the amphitheatre, and they've got an awful lot of bits of stone all laid out meticulously. Somebody's documented those and numbered them. This wall here we can definitely see has fallen down at some point and been rebuilt with whatever was lying around, because obviously these are, the round ones are columns. We can see some pieces up there that just don't fit in with the rest of the stone, so it's interesting how they go about their reconstruction. Wow, look at the thickness of this wall.
Stay still for 2 long days.
Just amazing the amount of detail that they've gone to putting these facades together.
The last occupation of this Acropolis Hill dates back to the 19th century, reusing stones from ancient monuments of the Acropolis Hill, and I think that's what we're looking at there.
Aha!
But 19th century?
Yeah,
Not that
not long
long
ago now. Turkey is of course a land that's prone to earthquakes. There was a very well documented devastating one in 141 AD, and then in 240 AD there was a second big earthquake that was worthy of making note, and a lot of the ruins here were devastated by both of those earthquakes. So a lot of rebuilding has had to go on, basically, simply because stuff happens. This looks like it stood the test of time, although those top bits there don't match up correctly, so who knows. It's a place that just keeps giving. Every time you come around a corner you're met with something else to go, ooh, that looks interesting. So what we're looking at here is something called the Great Bath, and basically they had a cold room with a cold pool, then they had a warm room with a warm pool, and they had a hot room with a hot pool. And this is the windows that we can see there looking down into the valley, simply there for a nice view. And they also had a little pool just in front of the windows as well that you could put your feet in. So this has been around for quite some time. They think it's around the 2nd or 3rd century AD. So you can see the size of that rock with Antje used for scale, and they're pretty much all around about the same size. But how did they manage to build that up there? Well, if you notice there's the stones there, they've each got a little indentation in them that's been carved in. What was that for? There's lots of them. Just strolling up the road towards the amphitheatre, and it is absolutely wrecked. It's probably the least well preserved one we've seen so far. Yeah. So it's amazing what the power of an earthquake can do.
Yeah. As we left Tlos, there was a lady with a roadside stall, and she's made these little lace mats or doilies, and it's so fine. I just had to get one. Isn't it beautiful? And that was 30 lira, Turkish lira, which works out to about $6 Aussie for that work. Look how fine that is. Tlos turned out to be a pretty amazing sight, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just a shame that it's been rebuilt so many times. Obviously, you've got to rebuild if things get knocked down and you're living there. So it's very difficult to tell which bits are which bits from what era.
So what's Lycene, what's Byzantium,
Yeah.
what's Roman?
Yeah. Great site to have wandered
Yeah, it's a
around.
really large place, wasn't it?
Yeah. If you enjoy what we're doing here on board ABC, then don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. It really does help us out a lot more than you can imagine. And if you want to get notifications whenever we produce brand new episodes of Sailing ABC, then become a subscriber and click the bell icon to get your notifications in your email. Thanks for watching and take it easy.